Hello, and welcome to Founder Freedom. From Hustler to CEO, the podcast built for e-commerce entrepreneurs and small business owners who are ready to work less, earn more, and scale smarter. I'm your host, Stephen Palmer, and today we're diving into the world of art, fabric, and authenticity. Meet Sara Anderson, a fine artist turned entrepreneur who's transforming hand-painted designs into limited edition scarves, robes, and custom pieces that carry real meaning. Let's jump in with Sara. Welcome, Sara. How are you today?
Great. How are you?
Doing awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us a little bit about your saraanderson.com's value proposition?
Well, my value proposition is to essentially, I've created a line that is predicated on my artwork. And it is to offer an authentic, self-expressed product for myself in that I'm creating it. It's my self-expression, but that also other people have a way to partake in that because they are purchasing something that is not widely available. We do everything in a limited edition. So we may do a design and we may have fun with it and run it longer than some, but we keep it pretty limited in terms of numbers so that there's always something new to discover.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds really fun.
It is. Actually, it's a lot of fun.
Good. We should have fun at what we do.
Well, we should have fun at what we do. And I personally have a pretty big passion about creating a way in which artists can live.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's nice. Two-pronged.
Mm-hmm.
So what inspired you to go after the product lines in this website?
Well, in some ways, I kind of followed the breadcrumbs here. This was not like I had a business plan strategy laid out and went for that. I was going to start out doing design, print, and pattern work, which is essentially intellectual property work. You sell a design and you're done. Or you get, rights on its usage. But I ended up designing for a museum show where they didn't have any product. They took my artwork and we designed silk cashmere scarves. They asked me, hey, can you do this? And I said, sure thing, no problem at all. I had not a clue in the world how to do it. And so, I hustled and I made connections and I wanted to do it actually in America. It was not possible. So I ended up creating a lot of global connections, which has been a lot of fun. And I'm sure you can probably assume that at this chapter in my business is also very interesting given what's happening with our global economy.
Sure.
But yeah, that was really kind of where it started. And then people approached me and said, oh, I'd like for you to design custom pieces for me. I'd like for you to design something for my home that's on tour, or do corporate gifts for us, or, that kind of thing. And as that evolved, we started seeing a niche where people were interested in owning a product that they just couldn't walk into a department store and get.
Right.
They wanted to have something special. They wanted to show up at that party wearing something special, or come home and wear something that was beautiful and different.
Right. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you had this fortunate situation of being exposed in your clothing line, and then you were approached by everyday people to do more stuff.
Right.
Which is fantastic. So when you were thinking about delivering on all these tasks, what did you see as a major challenge or gap that led you to pursue the passion of this business creation?
Well, the first major gap was I really had no idea what I was doing. I really had no idea. Do you start in retail? Do you start trying to create wholesale relationships? Which comes first? Or as somebody told me, they all come first. You need to spin all the plates all at the same time. So you're studying to be a magician.
That was your entrepreneurial friend group.
Yes. Yeah. You're like, this is not a one thing. You're not going to do a one thing and it's going to make it all go. Right. And so I've been doing that. I've been doing how do you spin all the plates at the same time? and still enjoy yourself. Because, I have had moments where I thought maybe not. And and then I look at it and go, and then what else am I going to do? Like, where am I pivoting to? And
Mm-hmm.
this really is, something I'm passionate about doing. And, I'm pulling my Winston Churchill, which is never, never, never quit.
Right.
So, and I love it.
Good. Good.
Yeah. I travel a good bit, and I find ways to bring that into my artwork so that wherever I go, I'm looking and I'm inspired.
Yeah.
And I am a big gardener, so I love pulling out of that too. And,
Mm-hmm.
it is my self-expression. It is my way of acknowledging what I see in the world and what I think is beautiful.
Yeah. So the last time we chatted, we talked about this a little bit. So what was the existing way the other clothiers were doing stuff that were broken that you're kind of filling, making it more efficient?
Well, I certainly think that there is a place for a beautiful, luxurious white bathrobe. It doesn't need
Mhm.
anything to make it beautiful. But what really, I guess, if we're putting it into that context, is broken is that it's a lot the same. There's, if Dillard's has it, then Nordstrom's has it. If, there's not anything super, unique about what's happening. And I think that we're entering into an age where people are really hungry for something authentic.
Mhm.
And with our designs, every design isn't going to be your authentic, you're not going to be authentically drawn to it. But there's something there. We don't have a huge stock of stuff. I mean, we do limited edition, we do limited edition designs, but there's something for everybody in this that is really beautiful that they aren't going to just, it's not in Target.
Right.
We're
Right.
never going to be that.
Right. That's awesome,
I
especially for
think so.
me because I shop that way.
Yeah, I think so.
If it ain't unique, I don't even want to look at it.
Well, I kind of think that is more and more the bubble that's rising.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So you obviously solve that problem, right, by providing one-off designs and limited designs. So the next question is kind of the big questions. I'm a new shopper. I just got introduced to your brand. I'm looking for maybe not a scarf, but let's say maybe I'm looking for a nice gift for my wife. So I land on your website. I'm on your homepage. What do you think is the biggest misconception that I will have about your brand?
Well, I think that one of our constant challenges has been how we really express this is created from artwork. This isn't everywhere. You are buying, in my thinking, if you are an art collector, let's say you collect prints, right? There's one of 20, it's signed in the bottom
Yep.
corner, one of 20. We're kind of like that. And so it is its own limited, truly limited edition artwork. And I don't, that has been, something that we have pushed and pulled and toyed with how to best say that. And
Right.
I think that is the thing that is we're always uh, refining and trying to express
Sure.
that
Sure.
and translate that to our customer.
Yeah. That's good. I mean, you're aware. That's huge uh, that you are and that you're working on it, right? Because it is hard to sometimes translate our little intricacies about what's in our brains to the buying public.
Well, I'd really get like, oh, I see this so clearly and understand. Actually, it doesn't mean that everybody sees this so clearly.
Right.
Everybody isn't seeing the world through my lens. It is,
Mm-hmm.
there are lots of points of view.
Exactly. Exactly.
Hmm.
So, do you have a success story that you could share with our listeners? It could be about a customer journey or maybe a brand mission that makes you proud and smile.
Honestly, the things that make me the most proud and smile are the times when I've done specific jobs with people, where, for example, I have worked with brides And I love doing it because we get to be a part of their process. And I love that custom element where we're invited into someone's life.
Mm-hmm.
And then I create a piece of artwork, then we go back and forth, and it becomes this artistic conversation, which I really love. I love connecting with people in that way. I also, of course, really love it when I get a sale on my website and somebody sends me something about my wife loved this, or
Yeah.
this was a hit, or, that kind of thing. In terms of what I would say is our biggest success, honestly, just that we're doing it. It is like that we started with this micro challenge
Mm-hmm.
of, can you produce this many scarves in this amount of time made out of silk cashmere at this price point? And we did it. And then we keep doing it. We keep, like, whatever the challenge is, okay, so here we are, and we're looking at, we produce most of our product, we've produced out of Turkey, India, and Colombia.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're looking at a world where it's all the numbers are going to change.
Yeah.
And here we are, like, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to figure this out. Um and we're doing that. And so each day kind of becomes like its own success path. This is not a you know, this is not an accounting firm. It's not,
Right.
we're not
Right.
going to put numbers together, deliver them, and it's done.
Right.
This is always going to have some sort of, challenge. How do I take the artwork and, make sure that it translates properly? It's not pixelated, it's scaled properly. And, there are a lot of nuances
For
that
sure.
create successes every day.
Yep. From inspiration to manufacturing and importing goods, it is not for the faint of heart.
Yeah. And it's
Not at all.
marketing, and and it's creating relationships with people from such a diverse background. Like, and again, it's that moment where you go, oh, we're not looking at this through the same filter.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, your culture is so completely different that I'm not even sure if we're on the same page.
Yeah.
And how do you create that relationship so that you get there?
Yeah. Those are cool challenges that
Mm,
only good people can handle.
thank you.
So, thinking about our audience, or thinking about your business, I guess, what trends besides the ones that you just mentioned do you think are shaping the future of your industry looking forward?
Well, I do. I mean, so two things. I do think that what we're looking at in terms of how the dust is going to settle is a huge, I mean, if you call it a trend, is a huge trend that will shape a lot of things. I think that it might also be a new window into, because as I said, when I started, I couldn't find what I wanted in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure that that will stay that way. And that's really exciting to me. I
Yeah.
think that's really cool. I have had these very not lucid moments where I thought, what if I started my own manufacturing company in the
Mm-hmm.
United States? And then I thought, well, okay, that's really kind of going overboard. But
Mm-hmm.
I think that that's could be really exciting. And then, of course, technology. What's really fascinating too is all of the stuff with AI.
Yeah.
Artistic generated images through AI. And how do you set yourself apart on that? Because I can go into AI and type in there, like, make me a fox or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the most significant thing about that is that it brings you full circle to an authentic voice,
Yes.
because that is where the rubber hits the road. Is that the expression?
Yeah. Yeah.
That is where the truth really tells, and that is, I think, why authenticity is just going to, you know, um, up its game, just like the price of gold. It's just going to keep getting more important.
I like it. That's
Yeah,
good. I feel for you in that digital arts niche, but I also feel the same way that you feel about it, where you're either an artist or you're not.
that's right.
And then you're either gonna be a slave to the AI image makers, or you're gonna be a contributor to make that space better for the next generation. Because
Well,
it's a way to draw.
it is a way, and it's a draw. And I contend that if you're the person that is going to buy a robe, hang a painting, and you're comfortable with an AI image, you're going to go to Target and you're going to buy something that looks pretty in your room. And that's fine. If you're fine with that, that's just lovely. And you can create a beautiful home like that. I would just say, though, that there are going to be people, collectors, different, that are absolutely not going to be comfortable with that.
Yeah.
So it's just going to create, I think create a divide.
Yeah, you're probably correct, right? So thinking about our entrepreneurial audience here, what advice do you have for other business owners that are looking to stay ahead of the curve today?
Well, don't give up. I mean, that really is it. Like there are always moments where I used to tell my children, life is a timeline. If you are having a bad day, where are you going to put the push pin on the timeline and decide that you failed? Never. You're never going to put that push pin in. So you're never going to have failed. You're going to have a bad day. And so the best advice is never quit, even if it looks like, the tariffs are at 50%. There's no place, you just like, no, you don't stop. And the best advice I can give that I didn't have for myself, which was, create a nice foundation, like go in with a plan, create a foundation, which, as I said, I didn't, because I just, was, Hansel and Gretel walking through the woods following breadcrumbs.
Yeah.
So, I see ways in which that I've made that harder on myself. I've created some problems that I didn't need to have.
Yeah, well, you learned a lot of things along the way.
Yeah, it's life.
You gave up a few green pennies, but whatever.
Yeah, it's life.
Cool. So what's next for your company? What are you looking forward to right now?
Well, we are looking for just how it's all going to shift so that we can just work within the context. But we would also like to add some more limited edition products, like a blouse. We're going to add a blouse and perhaps expand into a men's robe. We have a men's pocket square, but we are thinking about adding a men's pajama or robe, or something along those lines.
Nice.
To make a more wholesome gift buying experience.
Well, and you can get some repeat purchasers.
Right. So let's say you decide to go in and buy your wife a robe, and then you see something and you go, oh, actually, I would really like this too. So there's something there for you past the pocket square.
Very common today in the apparel industry. Very common. You gotta cross genders.
Yes. Well,
when you're a small business. Cool. So that seems very inspirational and appropriate. So what's the best way for listeners to get in touch with your brand today, Sarah?
So it's saraanderson.com. And my email is sarah@saraanderson.com. So it's pretty straight up. Fortunately, we just have my name, which is an SARA.
I like how you keep it simple, your brand. Yeah. I find I'm intrigued by it. But there's simple is beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, there are a lot of things that are complicated enough.
That's awesome. Great chat. So this is a wrap here on Founders Freedom. A big thanks to Sara Anderson for reminding us that great products don't just cover the body, they speak to the soul. From silk cashmere to storytelling, Sarah's building a brand where art meets everyday elegance. Check out saraanderson.com. That's SARA Anderson.com. And wrap yourself up in something truly original. If you like what you heard here, subscribe and share this episode, and leave us a review to help other founders find their path to freedom. Until next time, keep creating, keep scaling, and never lose your style.